Hi, this is a midterm presentation for our project, the medical imaging robotic processing automation system. So my name is Zhenjie, and the rest of the team are Yiwu Chen, Feng, and Fangyuan Huang. We in collaboration with Providence Healthcare in Vancouver and Northeastern University. So we shared the overleaf doc to draft our project report with our academic committee, and from the 7 submissions, we do collect all the feedback, and the picture on the right show the conversation, how the reviews goes with the Professor Aibing, and the correction made by our team.
So about the motivation of our project, the existing solution uses manual work, and so it is very error prone. For our solution, we improve the accuracy for the form classification process, and we also reduce some repetitive manual tasks, and which could improve the staff's work experience. And our solution is much faster than the existing solution. So we greatly improve the efficiency of our system. And also for the existing solution, the staff will collect the forms manually for every few hours. But for our solution, the workflow runs instantly. So we'll reduce the processing and response time and potentially save many lives.
For the problem overview, the existing solution requires heavy human labor, like from step 1 to step 4, we need to scan fax and send to isolated computer manually, which is error prone and slow. So we identify this as the biggest steps we can improve. So in our approach, we focus on removing the requirement of human labor. So we use online fax service that's able to save fax to files to the system. So in our system, whenever a request comes in, the system will direct the incoming request to an email and attach fax as attachment directly. And next email will trigger an RPA process to save the PDF to a cloud server, where OCR and the downstream tags will kick in. The whole process enables the distribution of incoming fax requests in real time and gradually improve the data quality and the processing speed. In addition, our stress solution utilizes the existing RPA process for PHM extraction and verification. So next is my input for this project. At first, I researched the available online fax services, and based on our project requirements, and I find the best one that's able to replace the existing fax machine for the better reliability and the scalability. And also, I configure and test the functionality of these online fax services, and to make it able to forward fax to email or to local number and save file to local disk. I also work with team member to create Azure cloud account and also the cloud blob store and link to the service to our RPA procedures. I also did the cost analysis. First, I compute the request and the storage requirements based on the given metrics. And then I did the cost analysis for our solutions. Like for our first solution, which expected like cost like 770 per month for the capacity of the 7,600 pages. And the average price per page is 10 cents. And also for our like ongoing alternative solution, which costs like 40% lower than the first solution and has higher availability and security, which costs like 450 per month and 6 cents per page.
So I was working on the RPA form classification process. So after the online fax services, the form will be attached to an email and will be sent out. So when an email sent out, it will trigger the RPA flow, and it will be sent to Acrobat OCR service, and will get the text searchable PDF. And after this step, in step 3, it will be sent to a third-party OCR service called Aquaforest, and we'll get the text from PDF. And in step 4, we'll check the unique keywords. Like extremity is a unique keyword for ultrasound forms, which doesn't appear in other types of forms. So it will uniquely identify the type. And after this step, it will be saved to the corresponding folder. And this is one of the RPA workflows. So when a file is created in a folder, it will be sent to Aquaforest and get the text from this PDF. And it will run through all these 4 conditions and check if it contains the certain keyword. And if it doesn't, if it contains certain keyword, it will be saved to a corresponding folder. And if it doesn't, it will be saved to others folder.
So in terms of my contribution, I play a role in project management, including the drafting the meeting minutes as 30 pages with all stakeholders. Also, I have some reference on how to operate on-prem fax machine. Besides, I also try out the connect and testing online fax service to email, and also local porting as shown in step 3 and step 6. The other part is the serverless development I take a part in. So I architecture this serverless pipeline using Azure Function, Azure Blob Service, and Azure Form Recognizer. I diagnose the key value pairs inferred by the general document model, as the example shown on the left. Besides, we have this connection with the Azure Form Recognizer SDK, as shown on the right. And we customize this document processing logics as we pull out these results, and we further processing this results file.
Yes, so other than regular meetings, writings, and debugging, my contribution focuses on 2 parts, metrics and error handling. So first, I define the baseline model as the current existing solution, which is labor intense, and then we want to improve it. Then I lay the groundwork for metric definitions, which help us determine how successful our model is, and compare that to the baseline model. The main metrics contains 2 parts. First is the operational cost. There are many dimensions available, and then after some investigations and comparison and back and forth with our stakeholder, I find that dollar per request is the most direct and easy to understand metric. On the left, you can see the table that we actually do the calculation. In addition to the dollar per request, we also need to keep in mind about 2 things, availability and scalability. By availability, we mean that the staff may be out of office for a lot of different reasons, and the IT system might go down. As a result, there are currently more than 8,000 requests pending in the backlog. So making the system more available and then scaling it up, it's not just a nice to have, but it's more like an urgent must-have. We must increase our bandwidth to handle this large amount of backlog and serve more patients in a more timely manner. The second metric I define is actually about accuracy. Due to the nature of the medical service, accuracy is vital for our process. As mentioned by our stakeholder, no patient should be lost in the process. That being said, I believe our goal will be a 0% dropout rate and then a 100% classification accuracy. So in order to achieve that, this is where the error handling comes in place. In order to figure out error handling, we first identify 3 critical checkpoints based on 3 potential vulnerabilities. So the first vulnerability is introduced by the online fax service. In the process of receiving and sending service, sending and receiving fax, there might be some data loss. The second vulnerability comes from the OCR part. The OCR is not perfect and might make mistake. And then the third part is actually the cloud storage. The cloud storage, the server might go down, and then the saving process could go wrong. So those are the 3 critical vulnerabilities. To handle these issues, we designed this 3 checkpoint solution, and then after being validated by our stakeholder, we both agree, say this is both doable and then it will be effective. So more detailedly, so it only requires the staff member to come back every a period of time, instead of like in the current solution, whenever one request comes, the staff member need to get up and do the work. So right now, in our approach, the staff member only needs to come back every period of time, sit down, match the numbers. There will be 3 numbers, right? So the fax received, the OCR processed, and then the storage, and like eventually the amount of PDF in the storage folders. So the staff member only need to match numbers to make sure that the total saved files equals the total received files. And then the staff member will just need to double check to make sure each file is correct. It's correctly labeled and classified. And then lastly, the simulation plan. In order to validate and then prove that our approach is both effective and also very, very useful and accurate, we need to simulate it. We need to put it in work. So we identify 4 steps to do such simulation. So first, we need to gather the form templates. We can do that both from public sources and from our stakeholder. So on the left, you can see an example template about a CT request that we need to correctly classify. So this is actually from the public side of the Providence healthcare. Secondly, after we gather those templates, we will need to manually fill them up, and then generate and then make them into a test set. And then we need to keep in mind that when we generate those like templates and then test set, we need to make them device and then as much as possible, make them close to the actual workload. And then lastly, after having those test sets generated, we'll apply them to our RPA pipeline and then using our metrics to measure the performance. So this is it. This is pretty much our midterm checkpoint report. And thanks for your time and your attention for our presentation.